Testing, testing. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of GAR Capital. It is Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. Here live on the YouTube channel for you every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, thank you for taking the time out of your day to join me. Bottom right-hand corner of your screen, little black logo. Click on that. Turn on notifications. Subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit that like button if you like these videos. Again, we're doing them every day for you. This is your channel, so let's get to it. Dow futures are down about 107 points off the lows, so not too much to the bottom end of that range. NASDAQ futures down about 0.44%. S&P futures above 3,900. Again, that key support level we've been talking about, and 1802 on the Russell. We did hit IWM yesterday and QQQ yesterday. Went ahead and added a call option for next week as well on DAL, Delta Airlines. Again, we had that alert break. We caught cues to the upside. We had IWM from last week. So again, nice start to the week. I mentioned to the members on the Discord that we may just get some choppy action. We were pretty much right around here, 39.60 or so. And again, you don't get a straight shot to 4,000. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the only way we do get here to 4,000, which is the target, is really a soft CPI number. And right now, we're getting Powell to speak. I'll go ahead and kind of speak on it rather quickly. Powell says, without congressional laws, inappropriate for us to use our monetary or supervisory tools to promote a greener economy. I don't know why that was in his eyes. Powell, in his perspective about green energy or greener economy, the Fed has to narrow responsibilities regarding climate-related financial risks. I don't care. What else is he saying? Okay, so here's his full speech. Let's see. Here's the questions. Which main concerns behind 90s wave of central bank reforms, practical policy experience, academic thinking? These are questions that he had, that they were given to him. I went ahead and retweeted, or I liked that tweet. So take a look at that. But again, if you want to see the full speech, it is on Twitter. I went ahead and retweeted it for you from Breaking Market News on Twitter. So you could read that at your own leisure. Right now, at least for the time being, the S&P is popping higher. Let's go ahead and get to the 1 hour chart. You could see that 3,900 support is holding. And we've been saying that until further notice, 3,900 is your support. What I want to go ahead and buy here, again, let's see how we open. I think if we get above 39.20, we can start looking at some calls to buy the dip, at least to get us in position ahead of CPI on Thursday. Some good news. We do have rates pulling back a little bit, did pop again, 3.571. The dollar is pulling back from its high. So again, we have that inverse correlation, the dollar and S&P 500. So keep that in mind. We want to break that level of 102.88. We got very, very close, but we need 102.88 to break. And again, a falling dollar and falling yields are definitely going to help the soft landing approach in terms of the economy. 10-year Treasury notes right now 3.569, the dollar at 103.19. The VIX pretty muted right now, up about 1%, 22.77, 17. Again, kind of hovering around that 19.50, 20 level. Usually when you're around a 20 VIX or a 19 VIX, you're pretty much selling into that rally. And then you're going ahead and see if we get a little more chop. We really haven't broken anything entirely special. So I would say if you get to a 20 VIX, start taking a look at maybe pulling back and taking some of your gains on some longer term, some shorter term swings or call options or bullish positions, because that tends to be the point where we flip. The crude oil level right now is 75.54, 1% on the day, $2.34 for gasoline futures. Gold continues to run higher, 1881, but again, GLD sucks to trade, so I wouldn't trade that. I think gold futures are pretty much your best bet. The problem is that the margin requirements are a little high. So let's place an alert at 39.20 together, guys. 39.20 is what we want. And again, we could just target the recent upside and you could just cash out at 39.70. You could always leave a runner or what have you. So again, if we are kind of taking a look at this at home, we can take a look at QQQ as a possible trade. We did trade that yesterday. Maybe we can re-enter. You see 270.43. That's the level I'm looking for. And then you could possibly take a look at the 275 calls or the 280 calls, which we played yesterday, but those were closed. To keep it going around the horn here, euro dollar, again, very, very important, 107.43. The Eurozone was upgraded by Goldman and JP Morgan Chase today from not a recession to an actual turnaround. So the European markets are getting a boost on that news, on that upgrade from what was this, from the upgrade from Goldman Sachs and JPM. Let's go to the 2-year on the euro. We talked about this correlation with the S&P 500. Very similar trend line that we had with the S&P 500, which we rejected. We finally broke above. We need to get to 107.81 or 108 on the euro dollar. Then we can start taking a look at possible 112 if you're looking to go long. If not, your short term is right around 109.39. That's the resistance that we had in April. So again, April of last year. So again, we want to take a look. If we do break 108, again, I want to take a look at possible 109.40 for a TP. And then I would put my stop right here, probably right around 107 or so. But if you want to go a longer term swing, right around 111.77. If you guys remember, we talked about when we were at parity on 1-for-1 euro dollar, I said, this is probably the time you're probably taking a look at going long for a longer term swing. And then it fell back to 95. So again, if you would have hit stops there, that's totally understandable. But if you held, you got about 742 pips. So again, sometimes the market makes you work for it. It's not very easy out there to trade, especially swing when you start seeing things go against you. I totally get it. Dollar yen 131.96 and Forex land 121.60 on the pound dollar. That's down 23 pips. Dollar yen is up 10. And then Bitcoin futures 17,330. Remember, we were just at 16.5 just about a week ago. So we're getting a little bit of a push. Ethereum doing a lot better, 1339, 1.4% to the upside. So right now we're at 39.10 on ES. I want to get to 39.20 before I do anything. We'll watch Qs as well and see what the other stocks are doing today. Apple, I'm taking a look at 133.16. Let's go ahead and break this chart down. You can see 133.16. That was kind of the resistance that we rejected from about 2 Tuesdays ago, and then the Friday before that, and yesterday's. So again, we want to go ahead and break above that first, and then we can take a look at possible 135 calls for a short-term gain. And then you have here a gap to fill right around 144. So again, it's going to take a little bit to get there, but again, you could see that we can get to 133.16. And if we break below 129.04, then you're getting back into this ugly bearish range here, bearish floor, or you want to call it bearish trend, bearish channel or little section here, because this is the lowest point that we've had for the year, 124.56 would be the support. Break 129.40, you could do the 126 puts, maybe $2 out of the money, and kind of hedge maybe your Apple shares or anything like that. Probably get some momentum to the downside. I don't expect that. I think we go higher. Again, it was a premeditated speech or pre-written speech, premeditated speech by Powell. So again, not a lot of surprises there. I don't see any headlines that stand out on what the hell we care about. He had his speech before, so it's really nothing to really worry about. Here we go. Jerome Powell does not comment on U.S. economic or monetary policy outlook in prepared remarks for Sweden's Riksbank symposium. So at least that's some good news. We don't have to worry about any kind of landmines when it comes to Powell like we did in December with the FOMC. So again, I do expect us to get above 39.20, gives us an opportunity to go higher, maybe 39.40, 39.50. But again, 3,900 is your support until that breaks. Again, take a look at the dollar. If that breaks down even further, we're going to get higher on the S&P. Let's answer some questions. What is your price to add Apple? We are not at that level, in my opinion, to want to add to anything yet. I still think it's a trader's environment. We really don't have a lot of clarity in terms of macroeconomics quite yet. Again, I don't have to be first. That's fine. But again, I just want to be right to make sure. If you're looking for a pretty decent place to go by, right around 120 is probably the spot where you're looking at for Apple. If not, if it does break, then you're probably talking about 110. But again, you could see in terms of the fib level, we broke below that 109.04. I can redo it again, but you could see that 124.56 is a key level that I have. If that breaks, definitely 120 is in effect. And I think 120 would probably be the max of it in terms of Apple. You could see that'll get us back to around 2021 levels. It would wipe out the games of 2021 and 2022. You'd get back to right around the tail end of the tail end of 2020 or so. What are your thoughts on for tomorrow, bullish or bearish? Well, it depends on how we close today. Again, if we get below 3,900, you have to be bearish because unless we get a bounce back on anything. But again, really the moving averages are kind of telling us the story. If we bring up the 2-year daily candles here, you could see that inverse hammer formation wasn't the best. But again, if we can get it back above 39.20, 39.22, that's the 50-day moving average. The S&P held the 20 and the 100. on a daily chart, that's a very, very good sign. Again, we just need to get to 4,000 to that 200-day moving average. We've broken before, but again, maybe it gets us to test that trend line and to finally get back to where we need to go. I sold 260 puts on QQQ. I'm going to eat them. There you go. If you sold you sold those puts, then you're definitely going to make some money, at least for now, depending on the expiry, because if you have it for this week, I think you should be okay. But again, you do have a CPI number coming in on Thursday. So again, the expectation is going to be cooler than expected as usual. We do have falling inflation, as we know, but the question remains, is it enough to surprise or help the market? I think right now, everything is on the dollar. We need the dollar to break 103. Break 103, you should be okay. We're going to go higher. If not, if we bounce, the market's going to go lower. I wish it was a little more complicated than that. So it sounds like, it sounds a little more, educated, but it's really the dollar right now. The dollar's the tail that's wagging the dog right now. Let's take a look at AMD. AMD, let's see this on the daily. AMD did pop yesterday very, very nicely, but we're hitting our head on some resistance here right around 70, 74. So you could play upside until 70, but I would cut bait because that trend line has been rejecting, very similar to the S&P, kind of stuck in a downward channel. So again, you do have a downward gap to fill at 64.29, so be careful. But if you are going long, let's say if you break 68.50, you could do the 70 calls or the 70.50 calls. That's right at the 100-day. That'd be resistance, and you can go from there. But to invest in here, until you get above 75, again, that would break that trend line here. You could start filling some upside gaps, possibly. I would want to touch AMD. Again, it's just still not an investable market. It's really just a tradable market. Let's talk about Square here. Square looking pretty ugly, as you know. You could see Square 52.86, again, another high beta name. We bring up the 3-week, kind of holding that. We almost hit that COVID support or that COVID low of around 32.33. Seems to be that this could be a nice little base coming up. So again, 81.15 or so would be nice on a Square if we can get there. But if we get to a daily, let's see what we want to do. Yeah, that right here, this is that 200-day. You need to get above there before you do anything on Square. Let's see on the daily, you're above the 100, the 50, and the 20. That's a good sign. If we can get to the 76.10 level, which is about $7 away, probably another 10% or so, that'll get you the 200-day moving average, which would be very, very key for more upside. So again, I think we're going towards the right path. There's a gap to fill on Square 2 right at 71.25. There you go. That's your level right there. 71.25 is a gap fill. Could you go long here? There's no edge. Because even if you did break above it, you're only a couple pennies away from the target. So it wouldn't be worth it. You really need to wait for that 200-day to break before you do make a move on Square. In terms of shorting, you'd probably have to get around 63 or so to go ahead and short that, because there's really no gaps to fill to the downside at all, or any kind of edge there. Alex says, thank you for your thoughts on the market, boss. Always here for you. Hey, always here for you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it as always. Love doing it for you guys. I wish I had more information. I wish I did today. Today's kind of quiet. I mean, the Powell talk was already pre-written. It was a speech. Wasn't really a comment on any kind of monetary policy. Just to make life easy, guys, keep an eye on the dollar. Keep an alert here at 102.88. That's what we want to see. If we get a breakdown there, S&P 500, again, 39.20. That's what we're looking for. In terms of Coin, this is from Henry. Yeah, Coin announced layoffs. I think it was around 10% of their workforce, and now they're up this morning. And you probably say, oh my God, why are they up this morning? Again, guys, we want to see earnings. If the CapEx, this is capital expenditures, this is hiring, this is marketing, this is extra people. If companies like a Metaverse are cutting those, or Coinbase, or these high flying tech companies that hired all these people when they had an economic boom, are they cutting jobs fast enough in order to bring down that CapEx so their earnings per share can grow? Again, guys, I think tech right now, in terms of labor market, they need to go on a diet. Again, they got really fat during the pandemic, and now they're trying to slim up the workforce, be a little more, streamlined, let's call it. Not every not every tech company is laying off, as we know, but the ones that got a little more bloated have. So again, Coinbase cut their staff. You can see they're up about a couple of pennies right now. They were up to $41 a share, and then it pulled back a little bit. So yeah, some good news, I guess, if you're a Coinbase shareholder. Will that make a big dent on the EPS or the bottom line? That remains to be seen. So again, that's something that you really need to be looking for when it comes to the earnings reports that are coming out in a couple of weeks. CapEx, I want to see if CapEx spending is coming down. The EPS, was that translated to EPS help growth? Again, like for example, if you cut your Netflix subscription, if you cut, eating out a certain day or whatever, if you're trying to save money on a budget, again, you're trying to cut that so you have more money in your pocket. Same thing. Again, balance sheet for a business is pretty much no different from a consumer. Again, they're just trying to cut expenditures and then trying to keep the income the same without thinking that income's going to go higher, which in turn brings in more savings. So again, it's more of a saving environment, a very deflationary environment like we talked about. Again, layoffs are very deflationary. So keep that in mind. Any calls I'm looking at? I have one call open, which is Delta Airlines, and was on the watch list this week. We went into the next week's, I think it was 41 calls or 40 calls. We are holding them right now, and they're about 8 cents away from where we are currently, down about $14 on them. So again, that's the only calls I have open. In terms of what do I want to look for today, I might want to get back into Qs like I talked about. There is a Fibonacci level I'm keeping an eye on, right around 270.43. If we can get, let's say, around 271, I'd probably take a look maybe to re-enter those 280 calls out of the money ahead of the CPI number on Thursday. Maybe go half position, see if we can catch a little action there. Remember, we do have earnings coming up for the banks. There's no edge there. We talked about that yesterday. I talked about Delta yesterday. Delta DAL broke that alert. I got in. Other than that, not much else going on. Boeing had some volume. I didn't trade that. They were downgraded, I think, by Jefferies. So they're down this morning. Kind of happy that I didn't touch that stock yesterday. But you could see a gap fill down. Now we're at 203.02. That gap's filled, so not much edge there to trade on Boeing. If you start breaking below 200, then I would possibly short. Again, it's kind of got ahead of itself really rather quickly. So $200.69. I'll place that alert there. If that breaks down, I may just do the 195 puts. But we'll see where we go from there. Really, the only call I'm staring at for today is DAL and QQQ. If we get any more movement, I will let everyone know on the Discord as always. We'll go ahead and leave it there, guys. 39.10 right now on the S&P. Again, we're watching for 39.20. That's the level to break out that we're looking for right here. And then we could possibly target around 39.70 to retrace and then possibly chop around ahead of the CPI number on Thursday. That's my expectation. Let's see what we get. Again, until further notice, 3,900 is your support. That's it. 3,900 is your support. If that breaks down, then you can see where we go from there. We're back into this ugly chop range with the ascending lows. You can see this trend line here. But other than that, that's where we are. Have a great rest of your morning. You can see futures are bouncing back here. S&P futures about to go green. Let's make it a great Tuesday. I will catch you guys tomorrow for the morning note on YouTube. Cheers, guys.